up, everybody? It's your boy Byro. Today I'm bringing you another Ark Survival Evolved base location and base build. Today's base location and base build will be taking place on the Lost Island map in an underwater cave. The coordinates to this spot will be in the bio below, so please take a look at it. If you already know where this location is, even better. That being said, thank you for watching that short little intro. As usual, I enjoy making those, and leave some feedback if you feel like I could have done better or if you think I could have done something different. But with that being said, let's get right into it. This cave is located pretty deep down into the ocean. It's probably in one of the deepest spots in the oceans. And as you know, if you play Ark, these spots are usually located with a lot of creatures and whatnot. There is usually an underwater red drop right here. Now, getting into the actual base itself, I haven't really done anything out here to where the main entrance part of it is. I just haven't really thought of putting anything in this location. I wanted to keep it very hidden from plain sight, because if somebody's passing by here looking for these red drops, I mean, of course, if you already know this map and you already locked down where all the caves are and all the drops are, you know where this cave is then, and it's not that big of a deal. But for those people who don't know, it's a good way of hiding base location. And so for me, the part of the cave that I started building in begins right here, and this is, as you can tell, pretty big on the entrance, and you could fit a mosasaur in here to a certain extent until you get to the end of the cave where you go onto the land. I think this is the most important part of the cave to block off, because out here it's a little different. There's a lot more room to cover, and it's harder as far as using tech turrets and tech generator. Of course, everybody knows that element is not as easy to get as it's made out to be in a lot of ways, unless you are extremely built up on your servers. Then it's not really that big of a deal. This is the setup I have. I have turrets here, so anybody that's coming in will have to go through this section first, and I promise you it's not going to be as easy as it sounds, because underwater raiding is much harder than on land because you have limited resources. Now right behind here, I use some of these vacuum pods to build a little temporary makeshift base, so in case you are getting raided, if you decide to set it up like this and you're going out there to fight people and you lose your setup and you die, you have a bed right here. You have some vaults for items you can put in, some extra resources right here as well, you know, smithy to fix your armor and whatnot, and then a grill, of course, to get your health back up. You have also a tech force field back here that you can launch if you are getting raided, which also covers up a decent portion of this cave, and that'll just be another obstacle for them to get through. Moving back here, this is the part of the cave where it gets a little smaller, and this is probably good that it gets smaller, because that way they can't fit everything in here, and I'm sure they could fit probably megalodons, dunkleos, anything along the size of that, but anything bigger than that, it probably would not work out that well. When you have turrets here covering a big portion of this cave, you know, they can only come so far into the cave before they run into the, let's say they do somehow manage to break these turrets right here and drain them, they will not only have to deal with those turrets, but the turrets right above. And if you manage to build it like I have, you can set up multiple turrets up top here that are very hard to see. It's just a good little decoy to have in case your other turrets get destroyed. But yeah, as you can see, I have quite a few turrets up here on this ledge, and yeah, I promise you that helps. It really does. Coming into the cave itself, I have a big chandelier of turrets just facing this entrance, so once they do get past this entrance right here, they will have to deal with another big section of turrets. And if you're built up pretty well and you have a lot of bullets in all of these turrets, you should be set up pretty good, and you would not have to worry about somebody breaking in your base that easily. I suggest anybody that builds in this cave do a design like this, or any type of design where you have turrets. Although I will say I don't think it's a good idea to put turrets on the ground, because if they do manage to get right here or on this side and they're not getting shot, well, that's game over, because it's 6 times damage inside caves. Good idea to leave them up on chandeliers, that way they can't really do anything besides tank them out. Moving along into the cave, As you can see, I have some Gigas in here, some T-Rexes. That was just honestly as a demonstration to show you that you can fit things in here of that size in case you want to breed. It's a pretty big cave for breeding. Going into the rest of this cave, I've built it to a way where you use almost all the space you have, because if you are going to make this a main spot for your tribe and your base, you'd like to utilize it as much as you can. So, you know, if you're an endgame tribe and you have everything, of course you can fit a cloning chamber in here. It works perfectly normal. You can access the inventory, you can do all. And like I said, you have your Gigas right here. You have incubators here as well, so if you want to do that. This is just my setup, of course. Nobody is going to build it the way I do. And I'd like to, you know, use all the space I have if possible. So this is what I've done with it so far. If you're somebody that plays a lot, this is just good defense for you defending, because if you're just already makes it 10 times harder for somebody to. Let's start off with this little cube right. Originally I wasn't gonna have anything in here, but if you have a tribe mates and you all like your personal space, you can make your own little rooms in here. And this is what I've done. So you want your own personal vault, personal cryo fridges for your tames. Go right, you can have your own room, do whatever you want. And I think this is a good idea for any tribe, and I'm sure that most tribes already have. Right here you have all your cryo fridges if you want to leave your tame. It's honestly more of an open layout, and I think it's a better idea that way than having it closed down, because turrets then have a limited range to where they can shoot, and there's a big section that will get blocked. And that's why I try to leave my whole base open, like an open concept, so that way turrets can cover every nook and cranny that they try to get in. This is the section where you can work on, build stuff. You have your vaults here. I know they're a little dark. The lighting was bad here, but I try to make it a little interesting. So you have your vaults. Right here you have your dedicated storages for resources and whatnot, and you have a lot of them, so that way you can put all your resources in here and it's easy. You have your teleporter right here, so if you do have another land base on top, you could just teleport in and out. It works pretty convenient. You have this little room right here. Okay, so I do have some closed off areas in case you do want to have some closed off areas. This is where I have a couple more fridges, a couple vaults, and that just helps it in case, like I said, you want to have some closed out areas. Right here as well, you have a bed, you have another vault, you have another tech force field right here. And this covers pretty much all the way down to where those Gigas are, up until all the way back to where that replicator is. That is pretty much the whole basement. It is not a bad spot because it's very big in its own way, considering it's an underwater cave. If you are a tribe that is pretty well built up, and even if you are not, if you're just starting off, this is a really good location to build your base. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe, leave a comment, leave some feedback, and I will see you in the next video.